March of this year, after the meeting that happened at KICC that sought to extend that MOU. And I remember saying on the floor of this House that I was extremely embarrassed. I was extremely embarrassed that my colleagues in this House were present at KICC, clapping and ululating when the head of state was saying counties are going to receive 450 billion Kenya shillings, and yet we could not see the money. In fact, my senior, the senator from Narok, the Honorable Edama Olekina, almost, he almost skinned me alive. But here we are now. I want to make it clear, Honorable Speaker, that my entire tribulations and trials in the ODM party are because of my continued insistence on implementation of the promises that were made by none other than the head of state to the family of devolution, to the ODM party, and most significantly, to the late Raila Amolo Odinga. Honorable Speaker, what is most embarrassing is that Baba is being betrayed by his own people. By his own people. On this one, I'm not even going to blame William Ruto. For the first time, I am going to excuse the president on this one. We thought as members of ODM that after we have the head of treasury coming from ODM, and he's a former chairman of ODM, shame on you, Honorable Mbadi. You have shamed Baba, because wherever he is right now, he's wondering, how is it possible that my main man is the head of treasury, and they're the ones taking us around in circles here? It is even further annoying that the head of budget, the chair of budget in the National Assembly, Samuel Atandi, member of parliament from Alego, elected on ODM, is the one betraying Baba's dream to see 450 billion Kenya shillings going to devolved units. I am deeply embarrassed as the SG of ODM, that our own members can be the ones frustrating the dream of Raila in trying to make sure that resources are devolved to counties. I was following the mediation process, Honorable Speaker, and it is Samuel Atandi who is repeatedly telling us that there is no money to give senators, or not senators, to give counties. It is extremely embarrassing. Madam Speaker, yesterday we had a debate here on another bill, the Feeds and Food Safety Bill, and we were lamenting here that the National Assembly always trashes the reasoning of the Senate on every single matter. So, Madam Speaker, I look at this report of the Mediation Committee, look at the reasoning of the National Assembly as to why we cannot be given 450 billion as a family of devolution. They have given two reasons there. At paragraph 7 of that report, Honorable Speaker, you will see that they are saying revenue shortfalls. They have given revenue shortfalls as one of the excuses. And then they have said that the House observed that the allocation of 420 billion as the equitable share to county governments was informed by prioritizing of expenditures of national interest, including public debt obligations and other national commitments. When the National Assembly defines national interest, the counties don't feature anywhere as an ingredient of national interest. Then you go to page 3 of that report, Honorable Speaker, and you see the reasoning of the Senate. From paragraph 11, we have taken time to explain to the National Assembly why counties need these resources. These guys just do voodoo math. They just pull numbers from the air. Whereas the Senate sits down and tells them point by point why we need this extra allocation. Number one, there are mandatory obligations that have been put on the Senate, including, Honorable Speaker, annual salary adjustments of county government workers. They are always here at our gate, protesting because counties are unable to honor their obligations under CBS. Additionally, county governments are in arrears in implementing the third and fourth remuneration and benefits review cycle, as recommended by the Salaries and Remuneration Commission, amounting to 10 billion Kenya shillings. We gave another reason. We thought that it would find favor with Atandi and his friends. Joint funding of national government programs that counties are expected to finance mandatory obligations, including KIPES, CHPs, FLOCA, and food systems resilience projects. Speaker, I heard the senator from Narok during his submissions saying, oh, counties have to find a way to accommodate national government when it comes to some of these projects, the counties that need these KIPES. Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker, sorry, we have members of the County Public Accounts Committee in this House. We have had governors, such as the good governor from Makueni, the Honorable Mutula Kilonzo, appearing before us and telling us that in Makueni they specifically told the national government that they did not need that county aggregation and industrial parks. But because the national government has said they have to be built, in fact, if you look at the design of those KIPes, it is the same throughout all the counties. So for them, really, the interest is in the building, not whether they are a necessity in these counties. So it was forced down his throat, and he has to accept and to co-finance it, even though it is not in the interest of the people. Then we have said that there is a need for stability and predictable county budgets. Honorable Speaker, we in this Senate passed a very useless bill called the disbursement schedule. Every single year, not a single year has the National Treasury, led by that John Badi, Honorable Speaker, ever honored the disbursement schedule that we pass in this House. We just pass these laws to tick boxes. When has the Treasury, the National Treasury, ever complied with that disbursement schedule? And then sometimes you'll hear very senior people in government, they go around in rallies and saying, counties, we are up to date with their disbursement. And yet the county governors come and tell us a very different story, Honorable Speaker. We can go on and on, but the Senate always presents very reasoned arguments as to why we need this money. And then you have Samuel Atandi there, the chair of budget, waiting for you. He says, oh, there is no money today. He goes for lunch, comes back, says, oh, we will add 1 billion. He just pulls figures from there. There is no scientific process in Atandi's head that results in the allocations under this particular bill, Honorable Speaker. So it is deeply embarrassing. And I want the people of Kenya to know that the people who are betraying the dream of devolution are members of ODM. They are the ones betraying the dream of devolution. If Samuel Atandi, as the chair of budget, put his foot down, and he comes from Siaya, he passes by Raila's grave every day. Can you imagine, Honorable Speaker? This is somebody who comes from Siaya. He calls himself Baba's child. In fact, I was seeing on social media, even the DJs who perform at their events are not being paid. And I want Atandi to see me on TV there. If he doesn't pay that DJ by the end of this week, he will see that DJ in Thika, because Nitalinda will DJ. It is embarrassing, deeply embarrassing, Honorable Speaker. They even go around crying that, oh, the national government has refused to pay ODM the 12 billion shillings that is owed under the political parties fund. You are the ones in charge of the basket. You are the ones in charge of the basket. It's like you going home, Honorable Speaker. You are the one who has the basket, and you can't even put aside some flour for your own children. They are looking at you giving other people money, and your own children are starving. You are the ones in charge of the basket, Atandi, and Honorable Mbadi. For heaven's sake, you are embarrassing us as a party. We are embarrassed. Instead of crying like the rest of us here, why don't you just take the money and put it in the budget? And then they tell us that there are shortfalls in revenue. Honorable Speaker, I will not tire in saying how much embarrassed I am as a Secretary General of ODM. The National Assembly, Honorable Speaker, uses 4 methods to deny counties money. The first one is the base amount that they use to calculate the revenue. Article 203 of the Constitution, sub-article 2, says that in every financial year, counties should not receive less than 15% of the revenue that has been received, audited, and approved. Now, what they do is they ensure that they are never up to date. They are never up to date with the audited reports. We here in the Senate, the County Public Accounts Committee, of which I'm a member, is proudly chaired by a member of ODM who understands what ODM stands for, the senator from Homa Bay, Moses Kajwang. We in this House have already adopted, and we did adopt, Honorable Speaker, the last year's financials, Honorable Speaker, the audited accounts of counties. We adopted them in March. We are up to date. Even in our meetings right now, we are only looking to see, in terms of follow-up, where these counties are. Can you imagine, Honorable Speaker, if you look at that report, that the amount that is being used to calculate the share to county governments is from 2022-2023 financial year. And I'm not quite sure who chairs the County Public Accounts Committee in the National Assembly. I suspect it's also another member of ODM. Yes, the Honorable Tindi Mwale. He's embarrassing us as a political party because it is his responsibility and the responsibility of his committee to ensure that they are up to date. These are the people who are letting down Baba. These are the people who are killing the dream of devolution. Honorable Speaker, these are the people who should be held before the disciplinary committee of the party, not SIFUNA. Not SIFUNA for insisting that we need to implement the MOU that Baba signed himself. The second thing, Honorable Speaker, is borrowing. Just before I depart from that issue of the base amount, because, Honorable Speaker, if you look at the revenue for 2022-2023, it is stated to be 2.050 trillion Kenyan shillings. If they were using current audited accounts, in the last financial year, Honorable Speaker, we were at 2.571 trillion. That is not an insignificant amount. That's over 571 billion Kenyan shillings. It's not an insignificant amount. And if you applied 15% on that amount, you would see the revenue of counties going up. The second thing is the question of borrowing, Honorable Speaker. As we know, even yesterday, when we were debating this bill on food safety, one of the reasons that was advanced by the National Assembly on why county governments and their departments cannot be considered authorized entities, they said that they are not recognized internationally. Now, when it comes to borrowing in this country, the only level of government that is able to borrow, especially from foreign markets, Honorable Speaker, is the national government. So the counties are unable to access this, but when it comes to the calculation of the shareable revenue, first the national government takes away what they call national interest and national obligations in repayment of debt. And one of the arguments that I have made is that whereas under the family of devolution, we can see a schedule of 47 counties, and we know Murang'a has gotten X, Bungoma has gotten Y, Nairobi has gotten Y. We don't see a similar schedule of the spending or expenditure of this debt that we have accumulated in projects across our counties. If you ask the people of Bungoma, do they know how much money is spent in Murang'a or in Mandera? From the national basket, they don't. And when people complain, you hear some other people saying, oh, but you also get money. What have you done with the money that we've allocated to you? This figure of 424 is insignificant compared to the amount that is retained by the national government. And so nobody should be able to make those arguments. In fact, I want to make a promise here that once we establish government in 2027, one of the things we are going to do, Honorable Speaker, is to make sure that we only use the resources that we raise. This issue of borrowing is the one that is also killing devolution. And when you ask National Treasury, our friend John Badi will go to, what is it called, Jivanji here, and sell lies to Kenyans, open lies about the state of debt in this country. We will also, Honorable Speaker, have to assail the public expenditure in this country so that we can do away with this borrowing. If Mwai Kibaki was able to balance our budget, Honorable Speaker, it can be done. It can be done. We see a lot of wastage in this country. We see a lot of lages just being thrown around. Can you imagine, Speaker? I don't know if I can ask the Speaker a question directly, but the rules don't allow. Madam Speaker, just think, when was the last time you replaced the roof of your house? Then there is this specter where somebody replaces the roof of State House every 2 weeks because he has the money. If he doesn't like the color because it has rained and it has faded, somebody just decides, oh, we don't like the shape of the roof. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. In fact, we were discussing with one of the senators here. Madam Speaker.
What's your point of order, Senator Abdul? Abdul, what's your point of order?
Thank you, Speaker. My point of order is on the content of speech of Senator SIFUNA, and I was really following his contribution, which was very good until the point where he decided not to give us facts on the issue of changing the roof every 2 weeks. Can the Senator please substantiate that? Because it's kind of ridiculous to make such a statement when we, I don't know, maybe Cherargei knows if the roof in State House is being changed every 2 weeks. Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Senator Abdul. Senator SIFUNA, you have made a sweeping allegation of roof being changed every 2 weeks. Can you substantiate?
Madam Speaker, I wanted it to sound ridiculous so that it can actually puncture the conscience of these members of this House. It might not be every 2 weeks.
Senator
but Madam Speaker,
SIFUNA, you may proceed then to withdraw that statement.
Let me not say every 2 weeks, Madam Speaker, because I don't have that evidence.
So can you
but
withdraw
in the life
it?
of this Parliament,
Withdraw that statement.
I have withdrawn.
Okay, proceed.
Madam Speaker, in the life of this Parliament, we have seen changes to State House more than we have seen in the past 10 years. And that's the point I was making. In fact, we were joking even here in Parliament, and the members of the Secretariat of the Senate don't like me talking about Parliament. Since I came into this Parliament, that main door there has changed more times than I can remember. I mean, which senator complained about the door? We even have a new desk that I don't know if it is the Sergeant at Arms who liked that new design, but at the end of the day, Madam Speaker, Kenyans can see that there is a lot of wastage and unnecessary expenditure in the way we manage our finances. And then somebody comes and says, we cannot deal with taxation because if we are not able to tax you more, that programs will collapse. If we can reduce taxes and decide that we will go and get one Mabati roof that can last 10 years, I am sure there is Mabati that can last 10 years. I remember my mom's house, where we built it, I think 10, 15 years ago. We have never replaced the roof. I will go to that same supplier if indeed we need to buy a roof for State House. Honorable Speaker, let me conclude by discussing the question on, I'm being informed that there's also the question of flowers. I don't know if Cherargei has details, but let me address delays in release of exchequer, Honorable Speaker. This is the other way that they frustrate devolution. That we will sit here and make noise. There'll be a lovely figure there. They're saying, oh, 424 billion that is coming to counties. But there is no way counties can predict when they are going to receive this money. And it is very difficult to run counties in an unpredictable fashion. If you don't know, for instance, if senators didn't know when you're going to be paid, how would you know when to settle your obligations for rent, for school fees, for the other things? So it is wholly difficult. And we place the blame squarely at Treasury, because the National Treasury behaves as if it is the national government treasury and not the treasury for all of us. Lastly, Honorable Speaker, there is a refusal to devolve functions. And Senator Mungatana has taken us through many, many examples of refusal to fully devolve functions. And Speaker, I will reiterate that in fact the full unbundling of functions was one of the conditions in the expired MOU. These are the things that bring me problems, because I remind the party, I remind members of ODM that that is what Baba signed up for. We have had fights here with members of the National Assembly, again, Honorable Speaker, over the road maintenance levy fund, because the Constitution only recognizes two levels of roads. It's national roads and county roads. We are supposed to only have two levels of funding. They are supposed to take care of the national highways and the trunk roads, and counties are supposed to do the roads in the counties. Can you imagine, Madam Speaker, that in Nairobi,
we have Kera doing roads, Kenya Rural Roads Authority doing roads in Nairobi. Under what definition does a road in Nairobi fall under rural road? Yeah? And the Honorable Raila was very clear, because he's the one who brought these road agencies. He said they became obsolete after the promulgation of the new constitution. They need to be wound up. We will continue to defend that legacy, Honorable Speaker, even if it costs us our lives. We want people to know that we will defend the things that Mzee used to believe in, including this. With those many remarks, I refuse to support this report. The Senate committee should have done more to get us the money that was promised by the head of state. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Senator Sifuna. Now we can have Senator